Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. My guest is Sean Worthington, President, CloudCoin Consortium, cryptocurrency expert and author. All right, Sean, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. You've got a book out that I want everybody to get out before we get into the talking points of today's show. Tell us about the book, and then let's move forward on what we need to talk about today.
Sure, the book talks about new theories of digital money, talks about the future possibilities, what could happen if governments get a hold of this money and control us, and also other ideas about how a good society could be, and just how we've solved the digital integrity problem of digital money and go beyond Bitcoin.
Great. You've got a new project out, I think with William Shatner is involved in it, right?
Well, I use him as a prop, I guess you could say. He's not actually involved.
Tell me about
personally. Well, so we're talking about Bitcoin and why Bitcoin is not going to dominate the world in the future. And it's basically hit its limits on many different fields, many different factors. Number one, there's no warp speed. Unfortunately, it can only handle about 7 transactions per second. And so that's not going to be fast enough to handle the global traffic. And in fact, when it was at its most highest traded about 7 months ago, it was taking days to authenticate a transaction to finalize it. So that's just way too slow.
Do you think there's going to be a solution to that issue with Bitcoin?
Well, there are some other coins that have come up with solutions for that. Unfortunately, many of the coins that are out there just take the Bitcoin code, copy and paste it, change its name, and remarket it, and so there's nothing new about them. But there are a few coins like BitShares and Steemit, and I assume that when EOS comes out, it'll have the same technology. It'll be fast. But CloudCoin also is a very fast technology because it does not use the blockchain and it doesn't work in the same way.
Tell everybody how CloudCoin is exchanged.
So I'll compare it to Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, I have to have an account on a public ledger. I've got to have a private key and a public key, and so does the person that I'm sending the money to. And so I will submit a order to the public ledger, and it'll change, and then it'll propagate throughout the network. But with CloudCoins, the people do not actually have accounts. And so I don't have to log in. I don't have to sign up for anything. I don't have to have a password. That's because the money itself has accounts. And so what I do is I take a CloudCoin, which is a file, and I give it to you. It's discrete, so it's not on a public ledger. And then in that file, it's a bunch of authentication information. And if you know that authentication information, it's like passwords, then you're the owner. If I give it to you because I'm going to buy something, now you have all those passwords, and whoever has the passwords can change them. So you just go up to this data structure we call the RAIDA, change them, and now you're the new owner.
What about storage?
So the wonderful thing about CloudCoin is that we completely separate logic from data. And this means that we can store CloudCoins anywhere that you can store data. That includes hard drives or USB drives in your email system, on a Dropbox. We can even write them on paper, and we can even put them in our minds theoretically.
So does this eliminate the need for all of the I mean, that was laborious for me to set up my cryptocurrency wallet. Does this eliminate that?
Yes, and so this is one of the big advantages. We went to the game developer conference in San Francisco a few months ago, and the big problem is that kids can't create these accounts. It's too difficult.
Yeah.
But with CloudCoin, you don't have to do that.
All right, so you just get a code, make sure that you store the code someplace. You can even put it on a thumb drive, but you don't have to go out, buy the $500 wallet, and then pay $500 to $1,500 for a tech to set it up for you.
That's right. And so one of the things that we have is that we can diversify our risk. And with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, all your risk is about this private key. If that private key gets compromised, you're done.
Right.
But you can put some money here and some money there with the CloudCoin, and that makes it so that if a hacker was to get your stuff, they would not get all of it if you diversify.
Wow. All right. What do you see in the wave of the future? You've already described where you're going with this, where CloudCoin is going this. Give us some insights of what you see coming down the road with cryptocurrencies. Are they all going to go to CloudCoin, or are we going to have? Is everybody going to have to get into that lane and start moving in the CloudCoin channel, or are there other, I should say, innovations that you see on the horizon that people should be aware of?
Well, the biggest thing that people should be aware of is that these communist governments, such as Venezuela and China, are starting to become very interested in digital currency and are planning digital currency, and so is Europe, the government of Europe. And the digital currencies that they're planning are going to strip you of your privacy. They're going to make it so that they can know exactly how much money you have. They're going to know when you buy and sell things, what your GPS location is. They're going to track that. And they're going to be able to redistribute wealth. And so there's a great, I think, disastrous group out there that's starting to figure out how to use it for evil. I think that CloudCoin, because it's 100% private.
Whoa. A group that's starting to use it for evil. What's that all about? What do you mean by that? Let's not just roll over that.
Sure. The first nation to adopt a cryptocurrency as a national currency is Venezuela.
Right.
And they have based it on their petro supply. But really, it's a way, I think, of scamming people, of taking their money and being able to control their money and being able to get around the dollar. And so, Donald Trump has actually made an executive order that no Americans are to buy that money or use that money. And, for good reason, because they're going to use that money to siphon wealth from all of the people that use it.
How would they do that?
Well, it turns out that monetary systems are information systems, and money plays the role of data. And even with our own Federal Reserve and our federal government, they've created a system which allows them to basically hack that. When you create, or when you're part of a monetary system, the job of the money system is to make sure that when you add value to the system, that you're able to get the same value out. That's its whole purpose. And so if you can put in a mechanism that allows you to siphon off some of that value, and by the way, the Federal Reserve already does this by being able to print up money for the banks and use it to make loans.
Right.
And the government uses it because they can borrow all the money that they want to without restriction. And so these Venezuelan governments, they can put in the algorithms way to basically steal money and just create money out of thin air and be able to siphon that wealth.
Isn't it going to create an inflationary spiral on what they have in the way of currency?
Well, the way to do it is to try to be sneaky about it and not to increase things so fast that you notice the inflation. And so right now, the Venezuelan bolivar has been printed up so much by the Venezuelan government that it is worthless and nobody wants it. But the US dollar is being printed up in a manner that is much less problematic for us, and we don't notice it as much. In fact, all of the prices for everything should go down all the time as we become more efficient and become more technologically savvy. But instead, the value of the dollar is actually dropping slowly. And when you notice that, you don't want to use the dollar anymore. You want to use some other currency that keeps its value.
Right. So they're going to artificially float the value of their cryptocurrency so they can compete on an unfair level. I know we hear that about foreign countries doing that all the time. Trump is making a big to-do about that, and has for a while with the Chinese yuan. So are you saying the same thing is going to occur on a cascading effect with other countries that may not want to play on a level playing field with other, let's say the G7, G6, what have you? Is that what you mean?
That's right. I mean, countries like China and Russia and Iran and Venezuela, they are desperate to have some other world currency that they can use, that they can manipulate and they can control. And we see that China has really taken a lead. I believe that they're involved with a currency that they're going to mandate that is going to be very, very, very bad in that it's going to track your GPS location when you buy and sell things. And they're going to monetize or tokenize every single commodity they have. They've already tried it with tea, and they're going to try to take over the world's wealth by doing that.
Wow. All right, you're going to have to keep us up to date. That's all the time we have for now, Sean. Any last messages before we sign off for our viewing audience?
Sure, they can get a free copy of my book for signing up for a newsletter, and that website is digitalfrontiernews.com. And if they go there and sign up, they'll get a free version of my book and 5 free CloudCoins.
Great. Sean, thanks for being a guest on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. Sean Worthington, you've been watching CEO Money TV. We'll be back with more great content right after this.